all geek to me!
Hello, welcome to episode 8 of the It's All Geek to Me podcast. Before we start, it's time for geek news, so cue the applause. And cue the laugh track. Let's get into the geek news. Joy Behar was absent from The View this week as she prepared for her new play, Bonkers and the Burrows, at the New York Comedy Festival. So Joy is doing a comedy play. How is that possible for someone who hasn't said a funny thing in 20 years? McDonald's is under pressure after one of its Connecticut locations is charging $18 for a Big Mac combo meal. People are outraged that their supply of make-me-fat death food costs so much. How about this fatty eat an apple and take a walk? Yeah, take a walk. Tesla's long-awaited Cybertruck is set to start delivery next month. The Cybertruck says it is bulletproof and has filters so good you could perform surgery in it. A great truck for the apocalypse. But where will you charge it? Pauly Shore proposed to Drew Barrymore on her talk show Friday. In the best of TV slime moves, they told fans they had to tune into the next episode to find out her answer. If they have a child, will it already be unfunny, has been? Michael Richards, who played Kramer on Seinfeld, is coming out with a book about his life. I wonder if it will have the N-word in it, considering what a prominent role that word played in his life. Alright, episode 8 of It's All Geek to Me. If you read the title, you know what we're talking about. Talk about the last Beatles song, Now and Then. It's become a trending topic right now. I'm just gonna say, like, that music video, really good. I have these on because I'm gonna show parts of the video I like, but really, really good. I will agree that the Beatles put their heart and soul when they made this, and it's just awesome. Also got this because I got the notes here. The final song, which was pretty awesome, for the B-side, they released this as a single, not an album. So when they do the B-side, the Beatles always have good B-sides, by the way. They have, like, really good B-sides. And on the B-side, if I'm saying this right, yeah, they have Love Me Do, which is kind of a tribute to the first big Beatles song, Love Me Do. It started with Love Me Do, and now it ends with Now and Then. Which, by the way, the greatest, okay, not the greatest music video, but there's another music video that actually I would compare it against. I forget the title, but it's with another homage of Easter eggs to the songs. So I beg to differ about this, but I just love the music video itself. I like the art style. I like how they show the sunset right here of John Lennon, like, looking out at it, and him remembering the Beatles, and I like how they show, like, Paul in the background. I think that's pretty cool. I like how they kept the 94 or 95 footage of them talking and them fixing the song. I like that. That was pretty cool. Yeah, they kept the 95 recordings. And Peter Jackson's tech, because Peter Jackson, who created the Lord of the Rings, he made the famous Get Back documentary for Disney, and that became a huge success. So while working on that film, he said he developed a technology where they can separate the voice or have its own track or demo. And they used that, and Paul McCartney actually used this because I went to go see him in concert for the Got Back tour. He used it for singing I've Got a Feeling with John Lennon, so that was pretty cool. And because of that, they were able to take other tracks from Beatles songs, and you can hear the echo, like, in there. I actually didn't know that at first, but then when I had to re-listen to it again, I was like, oh yeah, there's because in there. There's because in there. I liked that. I liked how they showed that. Other points in the music video I loved were where they had all, like, where they put the present Ringo and Paul in the past with, like, the past selves. I think that was pretty cool. Like in this one shot right here, we've got Ringo in the back with his drums, present Ringo, with John in his Sgt. Pepper's uniform and George in his Sgt. Pepper's uniform. And Ringo's just there, and Paul's just there. Paul and Ringo are there, not wearing their uniforms at all. What are you doing, Billy Shears? Where's your uniform? I'm sorry, I just wanted to say that because that's his name on the album. But the demo, like the tape, a lot of people are giving this, or in this case, the cranky fans are giving it, saying it's not a classic or it shouldn't be the best Beatles song. You know what? Shut up. You do not know what you're talking about. There's reasons why this was not made, or it's not the best. Yeah, shut up, critics. There's a reason why they didn't make this. For starters, it was a tape that John Lennon made in '77 in the Dakota apartment building. So he was in his 30s. And John Lennon didn't go to a recording studio or have a home studio. He lived in an apartment. Paul McCartney, Ringo Starr, and George Harrison, they each had a home studio so that way they can sing or start a song. But John didn't have that. He went to the local recording studio. He even did that the day he died. He went to the recording studio to make a song called Walking on Thin Ice for Yoko Ono's next album. So he always went to a recording studio in New York to make his albums. And he made a tape, which was Now and Then, and he didn't finish it. So he put it aside in a box full of tapes that he didn't finish. And of course, in 1980, he was shot dead by Mark David Chapman. So there's the reason why it's not the best song. Yeah, shut up, critics. You don't know what you're talking about. So he had to put this aside. And then in 1995 and 1994, when Paul, George, and Ringo were making the anthology albums, not all the anthology album songs were like bests, but there was like Free as a Bird, which was number 2 in England for a band that wasn't around for like 25 years, which was impressive. So like George was talking with Yoko, and she said, I think I've got a box of tapes from John. I can send them to you. And then they did. But one of the reasons why they didn't make it, critics at home or anywhere watching this, the reason why they didn't make it is because they had technical difficulties. Because these were the early days of the internet, folks. And those computers, I've watched the footage of them working on it. It is old. It is old as hell. But they couldn't do it because they had problems with the piano and they wanted John to be on his own, singing, not with pianos. So there's a reason why it took this long. Another point in the music video I like is this one right here, where they show all of them singing together with the John and George footage, singing with present Ringo and present Paul, just with a microphone, no instruments. I like that. Of course, John and George have instruments, but yeah. So critics, there's a reason why this is not the best Beatles song. Because, well, one, it's not the best. Every song the Beatles have made is not bad. But this one's just not the best because, well, one, it took a long time to make in the first place. It took half a century to make because first, they lost John Lennon in 1980, and he was just 40 years old. And in 1994 and 1995, that's when they got the box of tapes, and they didn't know what to do. So they put that aside. And then in 2001, of course, we lost George Harrison at 58 years old. So there's a reason why it took this long to make. And people have been saying everywhere, they are honored to be alive to see the last Beatles song. So there's a reason why this took a long time to make. There's a reason why. So there's a reason why it's not a classic, and the reason why it's not. So come on, people. And for John Lennon, that tape was untouched for 45 years, if I'm getting this right. Yeah, that thing was untouched for 45 years. Because, well, one, the Beatles had it, and then after John was making it, and John put it aside, and he didn't touch it. And then, of course, in 1980, he was killed. And then the Beatles they had their hands on it, didn't touch it. Then George Harrison died, and then they didn't touch it again until 2022 with Peter Jackson. So that they didn't touch that tape for 45 years minimum, at least. And another thing, going back to Peter Jackson's technology, that thing is amazing. How Peter Jackson made that. There's if you go watch the Beatles short film on Disney Plus or on YouTube, then you will find how they did it, and that was pretty impressive of how they made it. Another point I'd just like to say, we're still on topic about why it's not a classic, but I'm just going to go to a point in the music video that I like, and it's showing the Beatles like with their weird haircuts and leather jackets with George, Paul, and John. I thought that was very cool. And then showing the Beatles as children. I could immediately identify who they were. That's John, of course. All right, I'm just going to play it. Paul, of course. Ringo. George. So yeah, I liked that part too in the music videos. You get to see the Beatles as children. But yeah, there's reasons why it's not a classic, reason why it took this long, and the reason why, yeah, be quiet, critics. You don't know what you're talking about. And I just think the song is okay. But the music video, I loved the music video. And I do mean that I beg to differ, because there's another music video, I forget what it is, but it has a lot of Easter eggs to other Beatles hits. So if you help me, if you type in the comments, like, if you tell me the name of it, so that way I can remember. So sorry if I'm forgetting. But there's reasons why it wasn't made, why the tape was untouched for 45 years, why it's not a classic, and why the Beatles waited this long. There are reasons why. So you can't blame Paul and Ringo. They didn't touch it because, one, they lost two of their comrades. They lost John in 1980. That was unexpected. Everybody was totally caught off guard that he got shot. And then, of course, in 2001, George Harrison got cancer, and then he died. So they lost two of their comrades. Well, John wasn't a part of the project, but George was, so they lost their comrade. So yeah, that makes sense. But I think this was an amazing song. This was the right time. People waited for a long time. A lot of people thought it couldn't be done with an AI song with the Beatles. A lot of people thought it couldn't be done. But here you go. People are like saying, oh, this is one of the greatest songs ever made, or this song's great. So yeah, it's awesome. And I think people need to listen to it more, or stop giving crap about the Beatles, saying, oh, this sucks, or, oh, it's not a classic as it should be. Yeah, be quiet, critics. They have reasons. But I just wanted to say, like, please go listen to it. I know this is, like, bland, but it's true. There's reasons why it took long. And I like how they took the because audio and put it into the song, which is awesome. I love how they put Love Me Do on there, because it shows the start to finish. The 1995 recordings, I love how they put them in there. I love how they put George, Paul, and Ringo working to get the song done. I like how they put that in the music video. So I'm glad this song was not forgotten, and I'm glad. But this now gives the Beatles a whole opportunity. Say, for example, if John Lennon, Paul McCartney, Ringo Starr, and George Harrison had old tapes of songs that they were practicing on and never finished it, think of the possibilities. Paul and Ringo, I mean, they're already rich because they've been doing this for a long time, but they could be richer. They could go back, if they do, have old tapes in a record studio or their home studio, and then, boom, they can take old Beatles footage or tapes from songs, and then they can have a lot of possibilities. And same thing with John's family. If Yoko, Sean, or Julian wanted to make like an album or something, or just all songs or singles, then there you go. And same thing for Olivia and Danny, who are George Harrison's wife and second wife. His first wife was Pattie Boyd, and then Danny, which was born with Olivia. If they took old like footage or tapes from George Harrison, then they could still put that as George Harrison songs, and they can have AI to tidy it and clean it up. So that would be awesome if they did that. This literally gives them possibilities. And possibilities to make more anthologies. This can give them hope. I have 2 of the anthologies. This is number 2, and then this is number 3. Released by Apple Records, their record label. So yeah, this gives them new possibilities for more anthologies or just solo work. or or tapes that were related to the Beatles. So this gives them impossibilities. But yeah, that is all for It's All Geek to Me, episode 8. 8 episodes, and we're at 69 subscribers. This is insane. So please go listen to it. It's awesome. You will not regret it. And it's just awesome. It's just a great song. I know I can't think of enough words, but a lot of people never thought they'd live to see the day of this song finally being finished. And with all the records, the anthologies that have been made over the years, it's crazy how this has been made. And the Beatles will have a lasting legacy. Everybody's going to remember them, even probably till like the 21,000s, people are going to remember them. So yeah, people are going to remember these guys probably till the 300 or 3,000. So yeah, people are going to remember them for a long time. So please, thanks for watching. It's All Geek to Me, episode 8. Thank you all. It's all geek to me!